What's up, interwebs? I'm Tim Green. I go in the pen name Tim RG, and this is my writing channel, and you are listening to the Skyler Grant Podcast, which is the title of my only pants novel that I finished back in 2013, starting in 2011, which is being read a chapter each episode by my buddy Adam Daley from ZOP Gaming.
How's it going?
We are on chapter 21. We're almost halfway through this 46 chapter novel. I almost said pages.
Yeah, no. It's chapters, not pages.
So we're almost halfway through, and so we're going to be going through that. Afterwards, we'll have a discussion about the chapter, trying to remember why I wrote it this way, why I did it this. Anything Adam wants to shine a giant spotlight on.
Oh, there's always something.
There's always something he wants to point out. And we'll just talk about that, and we'll maybe throw some notes out there about what, if I was to rewrite this, how I would rewrite it, and all that, something like that.
Exactly.
But before we get to that, reading, before we get to Adam's reading, his horrible one-take reading,
I don't even pre-read it.
No,
this is the first time I've read this chapter.
So, we are gonna. I just have to ask you, if you go into like this episode, why don't you go in and hit that like button as a prayer to the holy algorithm. And subscribe, because I have writing content on this channel. With that being said, and out of the way, Adam, start your reading when you're ready.
Skyler Grant by Tim Green. Narrated by Adam Daley. Chapter 21. 4 months ago. Have a good day at school, said John, coming to a stop in front of Prattsville Central School main entrance. Late for school as usual for a Monday morning. I will, said Jenna, grabbing the strap of her bag before pulling the latch opening the door of the passenger side of her dad's truck. Once outside, she swung her bag over her shoulder as she closed the truck door. She walked around to the front of the truck, her head down, walking slower than she normally does. Is everything okay? Asked her dad, rolling the window down and leaning out. I am sure, said Jenna, turning to face her dad. For the first time since we started going to visit Mom, it was nice to get out of town for the weekend. Hey, if he gives you a hard time today, just... I can hold him myself. Jenna turned, walked up the steps of the school, reached out and grabbed the scratched-up handle of the door. Gave it a pulled it open. Walked through the long hallway. She walked 30 feet before turning into the first door on the right, walked into the office, waiting for Mrs. Haley to get off the phone. A few minutes passed. She turned around, still on the phone, to see Jenna. She reached out her hand, and Jenna handed her the note. She scribbled her signature on a hall pass, ripped it off, and handed it to her. Jenna turned around, head out of the office, back into the hall. She continued down the hall past the first turn, where the hall heads towards the gym. Jenna continued until the second turn on the left. She took the left head halfway down to and stopped at locker 342. She spun the lock combination quickly. 24, 22, 18. The locker popped open. She opened her bag and pulled out a few books, placed them in her bag before closing the locker. Jenna was glad her dad was able to work out with the school to have a study hall as her first class of the day. That way, she doesn't miss anything when she is late Monday mornings. Just as she closed her locker, the bell sounded. Ring! It was a few moments before the hall was packed with students. She was already back at the intersection of the hall, headed back towards the office. Once she reached the intersection leading to the gym, she turned down the hall, stopping a few lockers down. A short, thin girl with short brown hair, wearing the same black and gold cheerleading outfit she had on. Hey, Kelly, said Jenna, stopping at her locker. Hey, said Kelly, closing her locker. What are you doing? Okay, I just want the day to get over with. You going to the game? Yeah? Why? You know she is going to be there, and so will he. For heaven's sakes, he's playing in the game. I know. I don't want to see Sherry or Steve, but I a cheerleader, and I am going to be there? You know she stole Steve from you because he liked you over her. Heck, he would still be with you if you would have slept with him. I am glad I am not. If he only dated me because he thought I would sleep with him. You do know they are sleeping together for the past few weeks. No, I didn't know that. But thanks. That makes me feel so much better. Sorry. Hey, Jenna, said a girl's voice. Jenna turned out of habit. She knew it was Sherry, probably walking with Steve. She just wanted to rub it in that she was with him now. Once turned, she saw that she was right. The moment she turned, Sherry shoved Steve against the wall and started sucking face with him. At that moment, she felt sick. Her heart, that felt already broken, now felt like dust. How could someone she had been dating for the past year cheat on her just because she decided she wanted to wait until prom to have sex? Let's go, said Kelly. The two girls turned and headed down the hall towards the gym. That reached the main doors but followed the hall around the side to the entrance to the girls' locker room. They walked in, went to their lockers, which was right next to each other. The thing about gym, you got to pick who you were next to instead of being assigned to a locker. They unlocked their lockers and pulled off their cheerleader outfits and changed into their gym clothes, black shorts with a gold shirt and the words "In the world's Prattville Central School" on the front in black letters. Once they were changed, they headed out to the gym, where they sat on the bleachers. Ring! The warning bell sounded as Jenna took her seat on the bleacher. Her and Kelly were the only ones out there. Everyone took their sweet time coming to the gym because Mrs. Lake was so laid back and never marked anyone late, even if they showed up halfway through the class. A few minutes passed, the girls sat in silence. Slowly, a few more girls and a few guys started to come out of the locker rooms. Ring! The late bell sounded. Over the next several minutes, some more of the class poured out of the locker room and joined the girls on the bleachers. 5 minutes after the bell sounded, Mrs. Lake came out of her office and joined them in the gym. She stood in front of the bleached. She was an older lady, short, salt and pepper curly hair, wearing the same gold shirt everyone else had on. Mrs. Lake had on her usual black windbreaker pants with white Nike sneakers. Today, we are starting a new unit, said Mrs. Lake. You have a choice between floor hockey and badminton. What you pick, you are stuck with until we start swimming and after Christmas break. Warning you now that checking will be allowed. We have the far part of the gym padded with mats. Pick wisely. Mr. Eldred will be overseeing the floor hockey, and you all know how he is. He likes to let things go on. But if you pick floor hockey, be prepared to get a little bruised. If you want to play get and head down to the wall divider. All who are left will be playing badminton. At that moment, half the guys stood up and headed towards the fall end of the gym, where one of the wall dividers was already across the gym. Jenna noticed that Steve had gotten up but was talking to Sherry. Apparently she did not want him to play hockey. But after a few moments, he headed down. Several girls had gotten up. Finally, when Steve was halfway down, Sherry got up and followed after him. Last call, said Mrs. Lake, looking over the remaining students. Jenna jumped up, pulling Kelly with her. Kelly stared at her, but Jenna ignored her and walked down the bleachers to floor. before heading with a few remaining students who decided to join hockey. Once down at the far end, Mr. Eldred, or Mr. Chris, as he liked to be called, walked through the door in the wall. He was wearing a full black running suit. Mr. Chris had his dark brown hair spiked up slightly with a little scurf on his face. He was close to 30, but looked to be in his early 20s. "Listen up. The rules are easy," said Mr. Chris, looking at the students. "No high sticking or hitting each other with the stick. Checking is legal, and I will let you do it hard. However, guys, take it easy on the girls. Ladies, feel free to check the shit out of the guys. No fighting. Then we'll get you sent right to the office after the fight has a winner. What you are going to do right now is go in, grab a stick, and form a line on the wall. I'll pick captains to pick teams. If the teams are not even, I will make changes." Once Mr. Chris was done speaking, everyone headed to the other side of the wall through the door. Once through, Jenna and Kelly grabbed a stick and got against the wall. Jenna knew Kelly was not happy that she dragged her into playing hockey, but she was doing her best to ignore her. She had one thing on her mind, and that was check the hell out of Sherry. And if the opportunity presented itself, to Steve too. In a few minutes, the class was broken up into two teams. Kelly and Jenna were on the same team, while Steve and Sherry were on the other team. Jenna was more than happy about this. She started while Kelly was put in goal, something Jenna knew she was not happy about at all. She was a forward up against Steve, who just grinned. When Mr. Chris blew the whistle, Steve stepped in, using his stick, tripped Jenna. She fell hard on her butt with a thud. As Steve raced past her, as another guy from his team passed him the ball, and he sent it sailing into the net for a goal. The other team celebrated a quick goal, while the captain switched with Kelly in goal. Jenna got back on the line against Steve. When the whistle blew, he tried it again, but she was ready. She rolled around his back, ran past him as a guy with blonde hair passed her the ball. She lost control of the ball and hit the sit of the bleachers. Sherry was right next to it and tried to get the ball, but Jenna came full force and turned, throwing her back into her. Sherry slammed into the mat of the bleacher before falling to the ground. Jenna got the ball, went down the court, passed it back to the guy with the blonde hair, who sent it past the goal into the net. Jenna was thrilled. She just assisted in scoring a point for her team and got to check Sherry. On her way back to the line, Sherry got in her face. "You did that on purpose," said Sherry, shoving Jenna. "What? Can't take a little hit?" said Jenna, shoving her back. "You shouldn't have picked this game to play, but you wanted to be with your boyfriend?" "Break it up, you two. Back to the line," called Mr. Chris. Jenna walked past Sherry, who threw her shoulder into her. She traded out with someone else on the team. The game was intense. Jenna scored 2 more times, but Sherry and Steve's team came back to even the score. There was a minute left when Jenna got back on for the 3rd time. She had checked Sherry several times during the game and wanted one more shot before the class was over. The ball was passed to her, and she headed down the court, slapping the ball back and forth with her stick. Sherry came up on her. She knocked the ball from her hit the wall. They ran for it, fighting with sticks to get it while shoving each other with their bodies. This was the first time Jenna had ever seen Sherry so active in gym. It had to do that she did not like getting checked by her so many times. The two were tied, only 30 seconds left, when Sherry threw an elbow, hitting Jenna below her left eye. She dropped, allowing Sherry to get the ball, head down the court, but she did not get that far. Before Jenna took her stick, slipped the curve around her leg, and pulled, sending her to the floor. Mr. Chris blew his whistle almost immediately, seeing Sherry fall to the floor. Jenna knows she was busted, and Sherry stayed down to make it look like she was hurt. Mr. Chris walked over to them. "Hooking," said Mr. Chris, looking at Jenna. "That's 2 minutes in the penalty box at the beginning of next class." "My ankle," said Sherry, rolling on her back, holding her leg. "Get up," said Mr. Chris. "I know that you're not hurt, and you have 5 minutes for elbowing." "What?" shouted Sherry, standing up without any problem, standing on her leg. "I just went face first to the floor." "Look, you can walk. Maybe you should have acted as your nose was broken or something instead of trying to pass off your ankle was hurt. I saw you elbow Jenna, and was going to blow my whistle, but she tripped you." That's bullshit," said Steve, walking over. "If Jenna can't take a hit, she shouldn't have picked this game." "I can take a hit, which is why I didn't pretend to be hurt, but continued on," said Jenna, walking up to Steve. "I bet you wouldn't have done so if I elbowed you. No-go virgin bitch." "Well, when you get an STD, you know who you got it from. The slut you've been banging when you couldn't get me in your bed." "You bitch!" said Sherry, lunging at Jenna, as Chris grabbed her arms, holding her arms behind her back so Sherry could hit her. Sherry slapped Jenna so hard, it smack echoed through the gym. Mr. Chris stepped in front of Jenna so Sherry couldn't get another hit on her. Jenna came back, took her right foot, and slid it as hard as she could down Steve's shin onto his foot. "Ooh!" shouted Steve, letting go of Jenna. Jenna turned around and kicked Steve right in the balls, dropping him to the ground. Every guy instantly reacted by either grasping their crotch or putting their hands there or turning as to avoid getting there themselves. Mr. Chris turns to Steve on the ground. "Enough," said Mr. Chris. "The three of you can go see Mr. Zolkowski and explain what the hell is going on."
Kolkowski? Zikolski.
Zolkowski.
Zikolski.
That's a... Really, you got to drop a random Eastern European name on me?
Yes.
With no warning?
Yes, I did. Again, then that was another chapter from this flawless masterpiece with no mistakes whatsoever. Yeah, no, this is the very first draft.
Yeah, especially since since the gym teacher ends up holding Jenna back so she can get hit more, and then decides to step in front of her.
No, that's Steve.
Yeah, it wasn't Steve. It said Chris.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Hit. You bitch, said Sherry, lunging at Jenna, as Chris grabbed her arms,
I swear.
holding her arms behind her back so Sherry could hit her. Yeah, the teacher helped out Sherry for a second there.
I always read it was on the gym. It was.
No, I know that it's supposed to be Steve, but
I mean, I must have just put that.
The gym teacher's like, fucking get her.
Yeah.
I love the fact that immediately at the moment that I saw that he was Mr. Chris, I was like, all right, that's a Boston accent. It's Chris Evans.
No, the funny thing is, the Mr. Chris came from actually my buddy Chris. When he worked for the after-school program in high school, we had to go by Mr. He didn't want to go by Mr. Eldred. So he went by Mr. Chris.
He's Mr. Chris.
He's like, I sound like I had to have Mr. in there, but I like the sound of Mr. Chris. So I'm like, this gym teacher's gonna be Mr. Chris.
He's the cool teacher.
Yeah, he's the cool teacher. But I want to make him actually trying to be cool, where Chris is just like, I'm a Mr. Chris because I don't want to be called Mr. Eldred.
In my opinion, by the way, in my head, he's played by Chris Evans. It literally is Captain America as the secondary gym teacher.
Not the primary.
No,
Secondary. But yeah.
And the primary one is the butchiest butch who has ever butched. All right, I'm Mrs. Lake.
I honestly think she might have been based off of one of my gym teachers.
Probably.
But she
who all looked like Rambo.
She wasn't butch, but like she had shorter hair. She was an older lady, but like.
Oh my God, no, seriously, every one of my female gym teachers.
Oh yeah.
All through school, every one of them. I think back on it, and I'm like, they looked like Rambo. Every single one of them either had a mullet, or it wasn't a pixie cut. It was a high top. That sucker was straight up in the air. I'm like, why?
Yeah, mine wasn't like that. But yeah. So by the way, I took some notes. First off, the most important one we have to talk about.
Who the hell is Sherry?
No.
I'm just kidding.
The Bleach.
Yeah.
So they were referring. So the Bleach anime is in this.
Bleached.
Clearly, a misspelling of bleachers, but still.
Oh, I know.
I started.
The amount of times that you had little things that were like, well, that's spelled. By the way, it's badminton.
Badminton.
Yes, not bad mitten.
I don't remember.
But I know what you were doing.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure.
By the way, badminton is a badass sport when you play it at the top level.
Oh yeah, obviously. But when you in gym class, badminton versus
floor hockey. Everyone wants floor hockey.
Yeah, except for the girls. You get a few girls who will go in there. Like when we played it in school, you'd have like maybe a few girls. Usually they were athletic girls.
They probably played field hockey.
Some of them probably did. We got other ones who were more girly who would come in and play.
Yeah.
But everything. But most of them would do the other activity was.
We weren't in school. For me, we weren't allowed to because we didn't have padding on our bleachers. So we weren't allowed to do a legit check.
Oh, we were because we had padding.
But we were allowed to jostle for position.
Oh no, we had padding across all of our bleachers. And on the sharp, like the gym teacher when we did floor hockey would go in and put it around everything that could have been
awesome.
And we were allowed to check. We weren't allowed I made it sound like you could check.
Boom!
You could check though. You could push them into the wall.
You could shoulder bump with people.
You could push them in the wall into the bleachers because there's padding there.
You couldn't come flying in.
Yeah, no,
you couldn't do a proper hockey check.
Yeah, exactly. That was like some I need a game for gym. Which one did I actually? Floor hockey. Yeah.
The only other one personally that was better was kickball.
Oh, I hate it. We never did.
And dodgeball.
We rarely ever did dodgeball.
We had the red rubber balls, not the foamy things. Which, by the way, the foamy ones are much better to throw.
Oh yeah,
because you can get good spin on them and they can float for a second.
Oh yeah.
The
rubber balls.
The rubber balls. Oh,
they stung.
Ping. I still remember that sound. Ping.
Yep. So I needed a way for Jenna to be able to check.
Yeah.
Sherry. For this
floor hockey,
or get some payback on there.
It's a physical thing.
But the next and most important thing I need to point.
Yeah.
The whole conversation with Kelly.
By the way, why are the cheerleaders in uniform on a Monday?
I don't know.
Now Friday for Friday night's game totally makes sense.
Must have been Spirit Week or something.
Yeah, it's Spirit Week.
There's something because I don't know. Maybe they're doing they were supposed to do a fundraiser or something.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser.
Something like that.
Yep. Yeah.
But the funny thing is, so cheerleaders, not going to the game, but I'm a cheerleader. Like that whole conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like,
why are you going to the game? I'm a cheerleader. I have to be there.
I love how you put I'm a cheerleader and I'm gonna go to the game. I don't want to see Sherry or Steve,
even though he's playing in the game. Jenna is so much fun because it's always just the most confusing, airheaded girl who has ever existed.
It's the first time the voice didn't fit the what was going on.
Yeah.
Like her talking
Oh, I
back,
know.
like
Trying to be tough against Steve and being
tough. Like
I mean,
she is that
what?
kind of, this is probably the closest where I think I finally actually figured out her character.
Yes.
When I wrote this, like, look, she's not afraid to even go up against a big guy like Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
But she's
I love how Steve is also the big dumb dude.
yeah. So, but like
Well,
every time
you would fake it if I hit you.
every time
fuck,
before
dude?
this, the voice kind of matched what we got from Jenna.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
now it's like, no, actually, okay, this is where I found the character of Jenna, and your voice does not match.
does not matter. She's
all.
going to be the confusing one
Up to
vocally,
to a certain point.
and then it will change. Or will it?
Or will it change again?
No.
Again after that? No, I don't know. But yeah, the fact that she's like Kelly, who's also a cheerleader,
Yeah.
asking her if she's gonna go to the game or not.
That night, it's a Monday night game, I
Yep.
guess. Is it a basketball game? Is it football?
Well, they said it's right before spring break. I mean Christmas break.
So basketball,
Yeah, so probably with basketball.
Yep.
That's probably why they're
because
so,
high school football ends around Thanksgiving.
yeah.
So if it's right before Christmas break,
it could've been-
winter break.
yeah, it could have been. It was probably that I was thinking I was going
Yeah,
for. That's why they're in it. They have a basketball game.
Yeah. See, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Though Steve is very much acted like a football player.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but
Steve's like, I dribble a ball, I shoot, I pass. That's all I do.
another mistake.
Learning what that?
Another mistake I caught on there like was funny. Like fall end of the gym, not
Yeah.
far.
No, the fall end of the
so
gym.
She falls.
Well,
to the
no,
end
no,
of the
no.
Gym.
That's where Autumn is.
Oh, okay.
It's always on that side of the gym. They actually have the gym split up into 4 parts.
Oh,
and that's the autumn, and then there's and then there's a winter, and then a spring, and then a summer.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the summer side is where the stage is.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to bet that this is the type of gymnasium that's also an auditorium.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's the gymnasiums I always grew up with.
My school, which I think this is based off of, or maybe it's not, because Skyler's was based off of my high school. Though I'm pretty sure I used the same one for this one as well.
Probably.
And then I can't remember what it was, but Savvy. I think you were talking to me about, I don't know, but like
Sherry?
No, Savvy. Like you said, like I think it was you're talking to Mr. Chris or something like that. But like you said, Savvy, and like it was something else that came out. I wish I put more after it, but
Well,
so I'm like, what did I put there?
who
And
knows?
Blew the ball around.
Yes, they blew the ball around.
And she blew around with the ball.
Nope, she blew the ball around. Steve, you're not gonna get this. He's like, damn it, she can blow so good.
Yeah, you would know.
I should have waited.
I mean, oh, that's the first time she blew you? Oh, poor Steve. No wonder why you cheated on her.
I get it.
But yeah, what did you think of your overall chapter in the story?
Okay, so we got
Character-wise,
teenage
story-wise.
sex. The most awkward. I mean, absolutely, all of it does make sense.
Yep.
Totally. 16. Junior, senior of high school, being like, so when are we gonna do this thing? And her being like, I want to wait, and him being like, fine, I'll find somebody else to do it that way.
This wouldn't fit nowadays because most people.
Yeah.
It's even like in college, it's like 3 dates and you're already doing it. Maybe you may be doing it.
Hey, you might find there's still some people out there who are like, I'm gonna wait.
Very few, but like I mean, yes, and still in high school, you might still find those kids who are like, "Oh, I want it to be special.
Yeah.
Let's do it at prom, homecoming."
By the way, never do it that way.
No.
That nothing ever is special when you try to plan it around something else.
No.
And by the way, prom, much like every major thing that has ever happened, someone will always blow it out of proportion.
Yep.
And it will now have to be the most perfect thing that has ever happened.
Yep.
And if there's even a slight miscalculation, everything's ruined.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh man, I broke the shoelace of my shoe. My night's ruined. I'm not going to prom now. It's like, no, just relace
Yeah.
the shoe. You could still go, oh my God, my makeup is not perfect. My hair looks weird to me right now. And I can't do it. I can't go.
Also, the whole idea is these promposals now you have to do.
Oh,
I'm like,
jeez.
like mine would be like, you want to go to prom?
Yeah, that was mine.
Like you're not gonna do a promposal? Fuck that. No.
No.
I don't.
In fact, I didn't go to my own prom. I went to my date's prom.
I went to my prom because my mom was bugging me, saying, "I don't want you to miss out and regret it." I'm like,
Well,
and I was like, and like she even offered like because I had taken time off from work to do track, so I'll pay for it, but I want you to be able to go. If like I said, if I find a date, I'll consider. Like I'll go, but like I'm not like going on my way. I went. Yeah, I should have done what my buddy Matt did. He didn't go to prom. He went to the after prom party, which was like a gambling type thing.
oh, nice.
But you got tickets and everything.
Yeah.
But like I should have done that because like
That was way more fun.
I didn't care. The girl I went with, I was interested in, but after our first date, she said something because I was really like specific on like, be yourself, don't care what other people want.
And then you didn't like who she was.
No, she was cool, but she said something about like how I'm like, you should be like this more often. Oh, I do, but then people I just get these weird looks at me, so I just stopped. So I'm like, oh, so you care that she cared what other people were thinking about it and changed. I was too much in that. Oh, just be yourself and don't care what these people think. It turned me off to the point where like
The weird part is you really cared about what she thought, and you really hoped that she would react to you caring about what she thought. Therefore, she would care about what you cared about.
No, because I never ever told her this.
Oh, okay.
But it just kind of
It was an unconscious thing.
It was in my head, and like the idea of wanting to possibly date her or something like that.
Yeah, you know what?
Kind of changed. By that point I had already asked her out to prom. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm not gonna
you're not gonna back out.
No, I'm like, yeah, and I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
But like, would I have gone through it and paid for all the money? Hell no.
The reason I skipped my prom was because my date's prom was happening on the exact same night.
Ah.
And she went to a bigger school.
Cool.
And I'm in her yearbook. 5 times.
Ooh. Jeez.
I'm part of groups. The clubs. Like, I'm in 4 different clubs and the prom.
Wow. So
Because she was head of the yearbook and the class treasurer. So I was right up in the front. Like, it went the way the march went. Yeah. It was the president, vice president, then the treasurer. So I was the third couple that walked like along that march.
Oh, we don't do marches.
Oh yeah, we did.
I don't even think, but like
it was actually pretty awesome.
But yeah, getting back to the story, like, yeah, I can see that typical thing, but like, I honestly think it's like I need some kind of conflict here. What's going on here? I just kind of went with the here's something going on in teenager's life, right? Sure.
Yeah.
By
the way, the fact that they're talking about prom at Christmas,
I know,
just before winter break, no student, unless they are trying to overplan their prom, is even thinking about it happening at that point. They know that it's coming, but none of them are thinking about it. They're barely trying to remember what's happening next Friday.
Nowadays, definitely. I can name a few people who were probably thinking about their prom in freshman year.
Yeah, I know a few girls that were. So, I know a few that were planning their wedding.
Yeah.
So, and like, not just, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? No, it was like, this will happen. Yeah. And then there will be this. And I'm like, you need to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
You're 14. Yeah. Stop it.
More chances are you're going to get knocked up because...
Or your wedding is not going to happen the way that is.
And you're going to be disappointed.
And you're going to hate your wedding. And then your entire life is, oh, yes, never mind.
Yeah. So, but like, yeah, so that, it was interesting. I mean, I don't remember much about this one, but I do feel like I nailed the character. Finally figured out Jenna's character.
I'm glad that we're on the Jenna hype train here. I want more Jenna now.
But
screw Skyler. This should be the Chronicles of Jenna with a question mark.
The Chronicles of Jenna? Wow.
Goddamn right.
We'll get more Jenna I think we got one more chapter of Jenna. Then we get back caught up with Skyler again.
Okay, good.
And then we so we're getting up there because I believe it's not until chapter 30 where Jenna something big happens for Jenna.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. But again, we're almost halfway through. We got 2 more chapters, and then we'll be at halfway through the 46.
Exactly.
The 45 chapters with the epilogue, so making it 46.
All right.
But yeah, it's interesting to see here, but it is an odd placement of what's going on. Why here?
I love the fact that the last chapter ends with Jenna about 3 years old, and then we start this 4 months ago. So she traveled back in time?
No.
That's how she avoids the scary corporate government shadowy organization. She travels back and she ages and travels back in time.
No.
To before they were even looking for her.
No.
Genius move.
No.
Modern problems require modern solutions.
No.
The ends justify the means.
No, they don't.
I heard that Yvette...
That's a different thing. That's your channel. But yeah. No, it's 4 months from present day. So,
but it doesnat say that. The assumption is that this is a continuation after the previous chapter.
No, not at all. It's written exactly how it's supposed to be. And it makes perfect sense,
yes,
Adam.
Absolutely,
perfect sense. So, because I remember when I finished reading through this, I remember what happens in the next chapter. But I'm trying to think through. I'm like, okay, great, we're getting some background on Jenna.
Oh yeah.
Why now and not when we introduced her?
I don't know.
Because I don't see how this is gonna tie in to anything, but I can't remember because it's been a few weeks since I read through the rest of the book. So, but we'll have to remember when we do the next chapter. But
all right,
anything else you want to add to this?
No, that is everything today.
But overall thoughts of the chapter?
It was a fun performance. I'm surprised I didn't, other than one time with Steve, I never screwed up whose line it was.
And the last name.
Yeah, shut up.
Mr. Zikolsky.
Zolkowski.
Zikolsky.
I don't.
Yeah, fun note. That's the last name of a youth pastor of mine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have beef with him. That's
Big Z.
That's the reason why I write him the way he is.
Yeah, good.
For everything. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of chapter 21. If you enjoyed this, let us know down in the comment section. Also, why don't you hit that like button as a prayer to the holy algorithm? Because it helps us in the channel out there. Also subscribe because I have writing content on this channel. Speaking of that content, I'm going to put a link up on the screen for the rest of the Skyler Grant podcast. So if you haven't listened to the rest of that, you can go listen to that because maybe this will make sense.
You can start back at the beginning.
Yep. And then I'll have another random video that's best suited for you to check out. Where we go and listen to, I'll see you there. Thanks so much for listening. Have a good night. Bye.